Brooklyn Independent Television.
If you'll forgive the cliche, there is strength in numbers. That's one reason merchants in a commercial area often get together to form a BID, a business improvement district. But what exactly is a BID? What can it accomplish? And how do you go about forming one? Here with some answers is Jeremy Waldrop, Assistant Commissioner for District Development for New York City's Department of Small Business Services. Jeremy, thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me, Randy.
So what is a BID and how does it differ from a merchants association?
Sure. A business improvement district is a legislatively authorized not-for-profit corporation that has a contract with the City of New York to provide supplemental services to a specific commercial district. These organizations are made up of property owners, merchants, community stakeholders, and it's actually funded through an assessment that the property owners pay to support the services of the district.
And do you need to be a merchants association before you become a BID, or how does that process work?
Absolutely not. BIDs come together really from community-based organizations, merchants associations, or just one property owner who really sees a need in the district and wants to really get the community together and organize around a specific need. So the BID formation process is a legislative process, so it's very formal. There are really three phases. There's the planning phase, bringing together the stakeholders of the community to really rally around specific needs of the district, develop a plan to meet those needs. Then there's the outreach, going out and getting the support of the merchants and property owners in the district, talking to the elected officials about the importance and the need of a BID in the community. And then there's a legislative authorization process, which really walks the BID through a formal process of getting the community board, the elected officials, city council, and then ultimately the mayor to sign off on the legislation that creates this formal entity.
So what are some of the most common problems that sort of spur people to come together, and how can a BID sort of address some of those problems?
Sure. BIDs most typically provide supplemental sanitation services. So this is guys that you see on the street sweeping up sidewalks, and really just cleaning up the district, making it a better place for people to come and shop and hopefully drawing more customers. But the BID model has been around for 30 years in New York City, and those services have continued to evolve. BIDs are specifically here in Brooklyn liaising with NYPD if there's any security issues. They're going out and creating marketing campaigns, trying to draw both residents from around the commercial corridor, but also tourists or individuals from other neighborhoods into their commercial districts. They're creating holiday campaigns. They're going out and bringing in markets, green markets on the weekend. So the great thing about BIDs is that they really can come together, the property owners, merchants come together and are really able to decide what the community needs and provide programs and services to really meet those needs.
How many BIDs do we have here in Brooklyn?
There are 22 BIDs in Brooklyn, 64 throughout New York City. So Brooklyn actually has the largest number of BIDs of all the boroughs. They provide about $10 million in supplemental sanitation and security services a year. So it's a strong economic development tool. Mayor Bloomberg has been very supportive of business improvement districts over the last 8 years. There's been a 45% growth in BIDs in his tenure, which is the largest of any mayor since the program started in the 80s. It really, I think the proof is in the fact that you continue to see more and more BIDs created. We're really excited about some of the work that's happening in the BIDs in Brooklyn.
Do we have some new ones being formed in Brooklyn?
We do. The latest BID to be formed in the city was actually the Bedside Gateway BID, serving Fulton Street and Nostrand Avenue. We also have a new BID in it's called the FAB Alliance, the Fulton Area Business Alliance, right here in Fort Greene. But there are BIDs from downtown Brooklyn has a large cluster of BIDs, but BIDs are servicing Brighton Beach, so they really are all over Brooklyn.
And what about issues of vacant property or the retail mix along a commercial corridor? Can BIDs be helpful in sort of looking at that issue and addressing it?
Definitely. One example of that is Church Avenue BID is working with the Pratt Center for Community Development to conduct a study on land use and really the retail mix of the corridor. And then they're going to work with property owners, hopefully to encourage businesses that meet the needs of the community. So yeah, I think one of the things they're looking for are more restaurants. But they really do go out, they poll the business property owners and consumers that are in the districts and find out, what would you want to have in this district if you could just name something that's missing today.
And I'm assuming they reach out to consumers or potential consumers as well.
Definitely. They're out there conducting intercept surveys, really trying to figure out what people are coming to the district for and what they'd like to see there, what they're going somewhere else to find. And they really use that information to go and speak to property owners who will then hopefully go out and find those commercial tenants.
Now, when a bid forms and it sort of comes together, do the property owners and sort of retailers, do they sort of need to be in sync, or have there been examples where one group wanted it and another group might not have?
Sure, yeah. I mean, I think there's always a place where you can't get 100% of the people to want everything that's happening. But for the most part, bids are well supported. I think even in communities where you've seen opposition, ultimately everyone realizes that this is doing really positive things for the neighborhood. And ultimately, I mean, I think our message to bids and the work that we do with them is get to know your enemies and what they're really opposed to, and then try and work with them to really make the community a better place. It's really a hard thing to be against at the end of the day.
And the tax assessment, is there a formula that's used to determine the tax assessment? Yeah.
The great thing about bids is they're able to come up with that on their own. So they really try and work with the needs of the district to really have a budget that's exactly what they need, no more, no less. And so property owners, merchants have a role in coming up with that formula. So they try and find something that makes everyone happy.
And is it tied in any way to the value of the properties? Yeah,
bids can really use three ways to assess properties. They can use the actual assessed value of the property. They can use the commercial front footage, so the actual frontage on the street. Some variation of that too, or if it's a larger building with upper floor tenants, than the actual commercial space that's available for lease.
Jeremy, thank you so much. This is very helpful information.
Thank you.
Brooklyn Independent Television on the BCAT TV network.